It is now my pleasure to turn today's program over to Jeff Nealon. Jeff, you may begin.
Thank you, Monique. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeff Nealon, and I lead the solution sales activities at ENGIE Resources. Today, Barbara Ayotte, my colleague at OpTerra Energy Services, and I would like to discuss energy efficiency and its place in the energy revolution. To start, what is the energy revolution? Well, for us at ENGIE, we believe it is the change in the conversation with customers from price risk alone to quantity and how and when energy is consumed. This helps customers manage what is really important, their total energy spend, while helping to provide reliable energy by easing stress on the grid at high peak periods and reducing environmental impact of electricity generation. To help us better understand the energy revolution, let's watch a video where ENGIE Resources CEO describes this dramatic change.
The world has primed the energy industry for change, and I believe the landscape of the future looks very different than it does today. As technology has reshaped the way we navigate life in any number of ways, it has also raised the expectation of our customers, presenting challenges and opportunities for electricity providers. Our industry has yet to fully react to this new landscape and to apply to it the benefits of technology to our knowledge of energy and put it to work for the greater good of everyone. To do that, we must start a conversation about what we call the energy revolution, a new way of thinking about the customer's relationship with energy and how they can address the issues of cost, security of supply, and environmental impact that have been historically left to utilities and regulators. ENGIE Resources is uniquely positioned to foster this opportunity. We're part of a global group of energy companies operating in 70 countries on 5 continents, facing all manner of technical, commercial, and regulatory matters. In the United States, we serve commercial, industrial, and residential customers in 14 markets. So we have the breadth, depth, and experience to help build a better world through innovative energy solutions. In understanding this new dialogue, it's important to first note that over time, power systems have centered on building large-scale infrastructure to address cost and security, while balancing environmental concerns. Society looked to electric generation, transportation, and distribution as a way to improve efficiencies. But in doing so, we missed tapping the greatest resource of all, the customers. In the energy revolution, customers are more than ratepayers, and our obligation is to do more than just help them manage price risk, which is what we have historically done. We must view them as a partner in energy innovation and help them to manage not only prices, but also quantity, how much power they use and when they use it. If we can do that, they can make smarter decisions about energy, helping people reduce cost and our impact on the environment. We can reduce stress on the energy infrastructure, assuring security of supply, and make it easier to integrate renewables onto the grid. We can give decision makers the confidence of knowing the markets that they oversee will serve society in the best possible way. Customers essentially want 3 things from us: light, climate control, and the full use of life's modern amenities. And they want it all delivered in a clean, cost-effective, and secure way. We can do that, but we must first provide them the tools and resources to meet customers' expectations, improve the proliferation of smart technologies on the fringe of the grid, and leverage our knowledge of energy. In doing so, we can help them control their cost and their consumption. That's what the energy revolution is all about. Putting power where it belongs, in the hands of the customer.
I hope everyone enjoyed the video and learned a little bit more about how ENGIE Resources, or ENGIE in general, sees the energy revolution coming before us. I'll now turn over the webinar to Barbara, and she'll describe how OpTerra can help customers manage consumption through energy efficiency.
Thanks, Jeff. OpTerra is a national energy efficiency company, and we have been providing energy efficiency solutions for over 40 years. We have over 300 employees, of which 220 of them are engineers. So we design pretty complex energy efficiency solutions on behalf of our customers. We've been in business completing over 1,000 projects and saving over $2 billion in energy on behalf of our customers. We have professional engineers, certified energy managers, and LEED accredited professionals on our staff. And we consider ourselves energy engineering experts. We don't just concentrate on one type of energy efficiency measure. Many companies out there may be experts at lighting alone or HVAC alone, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, but we look to be a one-stop shop for the customer. We look at heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, data center airflow management, lighting, both internal and external, as well as adding advanced lighting controls and controls itself. And that, as a matter of fact, there are over 85 different measures that we look for depending on the type of facility that we are auditing. We have a simple process, and as Jeff will tell you, simple is beautiful. We identify the energy efficiency measures in a facility, we design the solution, and we install the project. In terms of the private sectors that we serve everything from hospitality to data centers, including healthcare and hospitals, private higher education, industrial and manufacturing, supermarkets and retail, commercial and real estate, as well as biotechnology. At OpTerra, we consider ourselves utility-centric. And what I mean by that is we operate in areas of the country where the utility costs are high and the utility incentives are great. We've been working with utilities for over 20 years. So far, we've worked with over 80 of them across the country. And of those 80, we have special relationships, such as Project Expediter, with over 38 different utilities. We have a utility team in our headquarters office in Massachusetts, where our utility program managers are always looking at the programs so that when we go in and do an audit, we are equipped with all of the information about the incentives, and we can maximize the incentive on behalf of our customers. To highlight just one of these incentive programs that's available today, in Connecticut, the two utilities, Eversource and UI, is currently offering a very aggressive program of up to 70 cents per kWh for lighting. And when you add comprehensive measures, which is right up OpTerra's alley, you get an additional 40 cents per kWh, for a total of up to 55% of the project cost being covered by the utility incentive. For gas savings measures, you can get up to $5 per therm saved, but those projects have to be completely installed by the end of this year. So time is running out, and we need to look at these projects as soon as possible. Another great program that's going on right now is in Maryland through Baltimore Gas and Electric, to give you an example. So what makes us different from other energy efficiency services companies? We talked a little bit about the comprehensive nature of the projects that we identify, but we don't just look for electricity savings. We also look for gas savings, oil savings, and propane savings. We are a turnkey company, So in terms of comparing us to the competition, we identify the efficiency measures, design the solution, and install the projects. Many companies only do engineering studies, and we are not in the business to do that. We want to build projects. We also offer our own internal financing, which Jeff will talk about in a few minutes. We consider ourselves low risk as compared to some of our competitors. And the reason is because we will take the incentive as partial payment. This does a couple of things. One is it reduces the risk about the timing of the incentive that comes in for the customer. The customer also does not have to worry about the dollar amount of the incentive coming in lower based on the energy savings. We're taking it directly. And also the customer doesn't have to worry about coming up with the additional capital. So if the project is $500,000 and the incentive is $200,000, when we provide a turnkey quotation for the customer, it is for $300,000. As I had spoken about previously, we provide maximum incentive qualifications due to our expertise of the utility programs by our utility program managers on staff. And finally, we're vendor agnostic. We do not represent any product. We choose the best solution and the best products for the application at the customer's facility. So how does implementing energy efficiency and reducing the quantity of energy that the customer purchases and uses affect the environment? You may not know, but electricity generation makes up the largest share of greenhouse gas emissions at 29%. In addition, commercial and residential facilities are adding another 12% of gas emissions. 67% of electricity that is generated from fossil fuels. If you implement energy efficiency and reduce the amount of energy that's being used, you also reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. And what many people don't know is there's a ton of water that's used to cool power plants. So by reducing electricity, you're also reducing water usage, which is a huge benefit in some areas of the country with a water shortage. You're also reducing air pollution and the land scars that are attributed with mining fossil fuels to run that power plant. We are now going to have a poll question, and that question is, how many energy efficiency projects have you helped your customers complete in the last year? Please take the next 24 seconds to answer this question. So now we're going to close the poll and show you the results. Okay, so it looks like there's a lot of opportunity out there to save energy for your customers. I'm now going to turn over control to Jeff Nealon, and he's going to answer the question of, if we reduce quantity of electricity, how do we coordinate price and product to enhance the reduction of overall customer cost?
Thanks, Barbara. Let's now take a little time to discuss the coordination of electricity price and product with energy efficiency to reduce overall customer cost. The two charts shown on this slide illustrate a customer load shape before and after an energy efficiency project. Overall, we see lower consumption through all the hours of the day and a bigger drop during peak times. With this new load shape, how do we help customers reduce cost? Well, there's three primary items that we would recommend. First, we'd recommend the pass-through of capacity costs in markets where it's a capacity market or where capacity costs are applicable. And that's not only on the supply side, but it's also on the transmission and distribution side. If you look at the two charts, we can see that by implementing energy efficiency, the customer's peak demand is being reduced. For those charges that are capacity related, the customer's PLC or their peak load contribution tag and also their demand from a T&D standpoint will be reduced accordingly. So on the supply side, again, we recommend that you pass through capacity costs. The same thing is true for network integrated transmission costs for those markets where applicable, primarily PJM. With the customer's demand being lowered through energy efficiency, for the customer to realize those savings, the integrated network transmission costs must be passed through in the supply product. Lastly, we recommend that you consider a block and index product for your customers. With this product, it removes any usage tolerance band issues and also allows the customer to buy power in a manner that's more closely matches their new load shape after the energy efficiency project. So, what happens if you have a customer that's interested in energy efficiency but has no dollars in their current year budget to pay for a project? Well, what we've done at ENGIE is we've developed a product or a solution for that situation, and it's called ENGIE Advantage. This solution involves on-bill financing for energy efficiency projects. You may ask, what type of projects qualify for ENGIE Advantage? Well, the good news is that it's all the types of projects that Barbara just described that OpTerra completes. If we look at the left side of this slide, it's building automation and controls, lighting retrofits, compressed air leaks, pumps, fans, and motors, HVAC, and also on-site generation. What are some of the common characteristics of these projects? Well, most will have a simple payback of 1 to 7 years with an average of 3 to 4 years. Most projects are between a capital cost of $50,000 to $10 million. And an important factor is ENGIE Advantage can be added to any ENGIE commodity product. What are some of the additional features and benefits of ENGIE Advantage? Again, no upfront cost to the customer resolves the situation where the customer wants to complete an energy efficiency project but has no money budgeted to actually execute the project. We simply add a line item to the customer's existing electricity invoice to accommodate the cost for ENGIE Advantage. And then following the completion of the project, your usage and cost related to the equipment that was retrofitted will decrease. And following the completion of the ENGIE Advantage payments, your overall cost will be reduced. This is illustrated in this diagram in the lower left-hand corner of this slide. We can see that by implementing the energy efficiency project, we reduce the overall cost by 10% while we're still paying for ENGIE Advantage. And then when we move out to year 4, we see an additional drop because we're still saving, the project's still saving consumption and saving cost, but we're no longer paying for the ENGIE Advantage program. The project costs have been paid for. So what does that mean? It means simple is beautiful. It really gives your customers, the opportunity to execute energy efficiency projects without having to worry about their current year budget. Let's take a quick look at how the single line item will appear on the bill. Again, we've tried to make this very simple. As this illustration shows, it's just a single line item. It just shows ENGIE Advantage charge of $1,500 in this example. There's full transparency. There's no change in the electricity price. It's just a very, very simple way of invoicing for the project cost. There's one additional feature related to ENGIE Advantage that I'll mention. If you have a customer that has facilities in regulated service territories and wants to complete a project for one of those facilities, but wants it invoiced on a deregulated account that ENGIE serves, we can do that. The customer, of course, will have to make sure that they are recognizing that we're invoicing for a project at a different facility, but some customers find it very, very easy and very beneficial to be able to complete a project in a regulated service territory and invoice it or pay for it on a account that's being served in a deregulated territory by ENGIE Resources. How do you contract for ENGIE Advantage? Well, ENGIE Advantage is a simple addendum to the customer's master agreement with ENGIE Resources. The majority of the supply contract remains unchanged. There's just a couple simple rules that I'll highlight. The first simple rule is the term of the commodity agreement, which includes the facility to be invoiced, has to be the same length or longer than the ENGIE Advantage agreement, meaning that if you're paying for a project over a 3-year term, the commodity agreement has to be 3 years or longer. The second simple rule is the start of the commodity agreement must be within 12 months of the completion of the project. So if we were completing a project for one of your customers in August of 2017, we'd have to have the commodity agreement that goes along with the facility that's going to be invoiced start by August of 2018. That leads us to our second poll question. And that question is, what is one of the most common obstacles preventing the completion of energy efficiency projects? Please take the next 20 seconds and respond to the question. All right, the poll is closed. And it looks like the majority of everyone on the line sees the same issue that we do, lack of approved funding in the customer's current year budget. It's one of the most common hurdles that we face. We have customers, your customers will want to complete energy efficiency projects, but unfortunately they don't have the money for completing the project, and we sure hope that ENGIE Advantage can help in resolving that issue. I'll now turn the webinar back over to Barbara, and she's going to discuss how we can work together in completing energy efficiency projects.
Thanks, Jeff. I know from personal experience that the biggest problem for us in getting the efficiency projects approved is lack of funding. And that's why we are thrilled to be able to offer ENGIE Advantage to our customers, and it's already proven to be a success. So, most important aspect of working together with the folks on the line today in implementing energy efficiency is being able to identify a quality lead. So what makes a good candidate for energy efficiency for OpTerra? The first item, which seems pretty straightforward, but I've learned from experience that I have to state this, is that the customer needs to be interested in implementing energy efficiency to save money, number one. Secondly, the customer needs to be in the private sector, and in the presentation we outlined the verticals that we serve, from hospitality to healthcare to private higher education and beyond. If it is a large commercial and industrial customer, it needs to have a peak demand over 200 kW and have a square footage of greater than 75,000 square feet. So when you submit the lead, we need those two pieces of information. If it's a small or medium business, OpTerra is only authorized to participate in this market in a very few areas. And those include 2 utility areas in Massachusetts, Eversource and National Grid, all of Rhode Island, and 2 utility territories in New Hampshire, Eversource and Liberty. And for this market, the customer needs to have a peak demand of greater than 100 kW. And again, that information needs to be provided when you submit the lead. So what's in it for you? WIIFY. We want to pay you for the leads, the quality leads that you provide to us, because they are so valuable. And so we have a consultant agreement which outlines the following compensation for projects that close. We will provide 5% of the project cost for projects that are below $500,000, 4% for projects between $500K and $1 million, and 3% for projects greater than $1 million. With the caveat that in competitive situations, both parties are willing to negotiate margins to win the business. One key point that I want to highlight is that the commission that we provide to you is added to the project cost, and the result is in the customer quote. The resultant value, dollar value, is in the customer quote. In terms of the payment schedule, it's a milestone payment schedule outlined here, 25%, 50%, and then 25% based on the specifics outlined here as well as in the contract. Now we are going to have our third and final poll question, which is, which of the following requirements make a good lead for OpTerra? Okay, now the poll is closed and we'll show you the results. That is right. The correct answer is, to make a good lead for OpTerra, it needs to be private sector for large commercial and industrial greater than 200 kW demand and 75,000 square feet or larger. And if it's small or medium business, it needs to have a peak demand of greater than 100 kW in specific utility areas of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Rhode Island. Excellent. Thank you. So in terms of the process for working together on energy efficiency projects, when you have a qualified lead, please first reach out to your assigned ENGIE Resources commodity contact, and then OpTerra will be contacted by ENGIE Resources, and we will identify a sales representative. Both parties will work together to validate that it is a good opportunity. Then we will reach out to the broker, and we will set up and discuss an open communication about who the players are, what the protocol is, and the timing of the opportunity. So if you don't already have a partner consultant agreement with OpTerra and you have a qualified lead, we will get one in place. And now we will open the floor to answer some questions that were submitted during the presentation. So please continue to submit these questions as outlined at the beginning of the presentation using the icon on the left bottom half of your screen to submit your questions.
Thank you, everyone. We've had a couple questions submitted. The first question is ENGIE Advantage only available when working with OpTerra? And the answer to that question is yes. The way that the ENGIE Advantage program is set up, it's set up with us working with our sister company OpTerra, and it's set up with OpTerra doing the design and implementation of the project. So that's the way the program is set up in working with ENGIE Resources working with OpTerra. We had a second question that came in, and Barbara, I'll read the question and I'll let you reply to it. How do we define, or how do you define, excuse me, small medium business at the utility account level or at the enterprise level? In other words, would a 100 kW healthcare clinic with 10,000 square feet qualify if it's owned by a 5 megawatt hospital? Do you want to?
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, so small medium business is defined by the utility, and every utility is different. Generally, it is under 200 kW or under 250 kW is the definition of a small medium business, and OpTerra is only able to provide a solution for small medium businesses that are greater than 100 kW. The example that you provided would be a good opportunity for OpTerra. Does that answer the question? Please let us know by using the icon on your screen.
Thanks, Barbara. In looking at the size qualifications that Barbara's mentioned during the webinar, again, what we're trying to do is to make sure that the leads that you present, and we definitely want to work with all the partners that are part of the webinar today on energy efficiency, but we want to make sure that for everyone's benefit, the leads have the significant size and characteristics to make a good lead so that we all are working efficiently together in moving forward. We had another question that's been submitted, and Barbara, I'll read the question again. Why is OpTerra considered low risk? Is it because of ENGIE Advantage?
Thank you, Jeff. This is from Michael. Hi, Michael. No, that is not the reason why we consider ourselves low risk. Let me explain more clearly. So the utilities provide us an incentive amount that is based on energy saved. So one of the things that OpTerra does is we take that incentive as partial payment. So if the customer would like to take the incentive directly, they can do that. But the risk when they do that is if the energy savings that has been calculated is not actually achieved, then that incentive dollar amount would be reduced. So by OpTerra taking that incentive directly, the customer does not have to worry about the risk associated with the incentive being reduced. That is the intent of that comment that was mentioned during differentiating OpTerra from the competition.
Thanks, Barbara. Well, we've come to the end of all of our questions for today's webinar. If there are any additional questions that you have after the webinar, please let us know. We'll be glad to answer those questions. And for both ENGIE Resources and OpTerra Energy Services, we are really looking forward to working with you and working with your customers in implementing energy efficiency projects as we move forward. Thanks everyone for your time today, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate your attention.
And thanks to all our participants for joining us today. We hope you found this webcast presentation informative. This concludes our webcast, and you may now disconnect. Have a wonderful day.